Hey, welcome to the best overall show. This is Noah, and we have Joe. Say hi, Joe.
Hey, hi Joe. How's it going?
Hey, you did the Kazra thing because we don't have Kazra today.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while. I've been out for a little bit because family things happen, Thanksgiving and all the different holidays, and World Champs, which we'll talk about a little bit. And I think we're coming back at the cusp of me being a little more excited about 40K.
Okay.
I've been excited. I've been excited to play, but I've been playing like Chaos Knights, which is a departure from my Imperial Knights, mostly just because they were better at the time. And I've been wanting to play my AdMech again for a long time. And they have a codex. Boy, we can get into it in a little bit, but boy, do I have no idea how to evaluate that codex at all.
I did play a game against them and got absolutely destroyed.
Really? Were they playing like a million units and just like dominating primary?
Nope. He had two 6-man blocks of the the
Cataphrons, yep.
the guys on treads.
Yeah, Cataphron Breachers.
Yeah, those guys are like as dangerous as Crisis Suits and Aggressor Bricks. So
Yeah, they move real slow is the problem.
well, I mean, he gave them advance and shoot every turn, so.
Oh, he was playing. Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, well, that's the advance and shoot is the army wide rule. You can either take advance and shoot with +1 AP against your opponent's the things in your opponent's deployment zone, or you can take everything as heavy and I get -1 AP against my opponent, or my opponent gets -1 AP against me if I'm in my deployment zone.
Yeah, they were
so heavy and
and
assault. Yeah, they're pretty good. I've been thinking about a list that basically just plays like the maximum number of units you could fit in 2,000 points. Like I think the last one I had looked like it would have 28 drops.
Wow.
And
that is a definite garbage man list.
Yeah, and well, the thing about it is like 100 of those models are like Skitarii Rangers / Vanguard.
Oh, okay.
So it's also like legit like 170 models.
Oh, you're taking like 12 units of troops.
Yeah. So the starting is like 10 units of battle line. That's the beginning, right? 6 and 4, and then 2 transports, and then 3 squads of infiltrators, 3 minimum squads of dogs. Okay. 3 minimum squads of the Lancer guys, 3 minimum squads of the las cannon chickens.
Are they
the one man? Yeah.
Okay, one guy.
Minimum 1, but I've messed around with some 2s too, right? So basically 1s or 2s, and then add some like squads of the flying guys or some other stuff as you feel like it, and you find yourself at like a million drops.
Yes, that does seem like it would work very well.
And I was thinking about like I was realizing that like playing that list though would mean that either it doesn't work and I get destroyed, or I win and my opponent has a terrible time because like really that army only wins by just like completely dumpstering your primary while succeeding at secondary and holding more primary than you. Essentially how the math works out is if I keep you if you're on a mission where you can get secondary for your home objective and I ensure that you don't hold any non-home objectives for the entire game by throwing my million bodies onto every objective every chance I get and forcing you to kill me off, and I achieve I take cleanse and homers and I get 35 points. And then you get 40 points plus 20 points of primary. That means your maximum score is 60.
Yeah.
And so I have to score 26 points beyond my primary. I mean beyond my secondary. Beyond my secondary of 35, I have to score 26 points to win, which means I have to get a 10 on primary twice. And then 5's the rest of the game. Yeah. So it's like really dumb because it just means you're just like throwing bodies. You're just like drowning all the objectives in blood.
Sounds a little heresy to me, but yeah.
Well, blood and sparks. Blood and
Okay,
sparks.
there we go.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I went to Slanesh. I took Chaos Knights. I went 3-1 or 4-1-1. I lost to Steve Trimble, who's playing that like Chaos Space Marines.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, I love Steven, but he was playing the Chaos Space Marines Cancer with like the 30 cultists or the 3 maximum squads of cursed cultists.
Ah, yes.
So like that was pretty terrible to play against. And then my last game was against my teammate Donald, also a member of the show. You know, like jumps in sometimes, and that was a 97-97 tie.
Wow.
You know what it came down to is I went and did deploy teleport homers with a lone op, who he killed on turn 1, which gave him the 8 points for purge. You know, 4 points for kill, 4 points for more. And so basically, if I would not have deployed homers, I won by 4.
Dang.
Yeah. So like, it's one of those things that made me think about the way we play the game. Like if I would have given up on one of my secondaries on turn 1, I won by 4 points.
Yeah, I mean that one you pretty much just. I feel like that mission in particular, you just kind of have to play very conservatively since you're only scoring. If you're not holding more, you don't need to hold more than one objective and put yourself out there. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was good though. I took second best overall. The team did really well.
Who got best overall?
My buddy, I forgot his name. He was a Space Wolf player, I believe. Really nicely painted Space Wolf army.
Nice.
It was funny because me and Donald were in competition for best overall.
And then you tied.
And then we tied and knocked us both out of it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah, I haven't. I had a little RTT last weekend, and I at my local store in Marquette, Michigan, and I won that with Eldar. Got the cool little store champion official GW.
I saw that. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. It's a cool little trophy. I liked it. Finished reading War Boss, which is a great Black Library book that came out a little while ago.
Sure.
I think. Yeah. So
was War Boss part of the like the brutal Buchanan? Like, it's that one guy. He just got a book, maybe.
No.
He's got a.
It's the same author. It's the same author. It is. It's not
Okay.
the same characters though. So I think that book is just kind of a one-off. So, but it is really cool. And yeah, any book. I feel like all the Warhammer lore that is from the Orcs' perspective is always just the best.
Yeah, I kind of been feeling that way about. I feel that way about the Admech too. I read Imperator, which is like the entire book takes place inside of an Imperator Titan that's currently at war, and it's from the point of view of a Dominus, and that Dominus has slaved his consciousness off into like multiple like subroutines. So at one point, there's an argument between 3 different people who are all actually the same person in his digitized consciousness. It's him having an argument with 2 other versions of himself.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, well, and it's actually not even him; it's they, because like he goes by Vim Viz, like because this tech priest has entirely digitized their consciousness, so they don't really have a gender at this point. They're just essentially like a digital robotic being, right? That has no association with biology, and so they like there's like the primary version of themselves, and then there's the tactical version, which is like the version they use when they're piloting their war scanner, like going into direct physical conflict while they're leading their Skitarii troops. And then they have secundus or antithetical, which is they created a version of themselves specifically designed to argue with themselves from the exact opposite opinions and viewpoints so that they could make a better decisions.
Nice. Little own devil's advocate going on.
And then there's a version of themselves called local, which is the version that pilots the warsuit when they aren't currently interred in the warsuit, almost like a dumbed down drone version of itself. So really there were 4 versions of the same character in the book, all playing important roles in the storyline, but they were all actually the same character.
Wow. Who are they fighting in that book?
Chaos. So like the Dark Mechanicus was trying to turn over the Imperator to the powers of chaos. So the Imperator was leading a Titan Legion spearhead on a planet, and they were trying to basically isolate the Imperator by itself, so that they could in turn new command in the Imperator, take over the Imperator, introduce scrap code, corrupt it, and so that by the time the rest of the Legion caught up and comes out of this like electrical storm to rejoin the Imperator's already corrupted to kill them all. That's the plan.
Okay, cool.
Right. And it's all about how this plan unfolds. There's an Inquisitor involved. There's a Dominus. There's like a Tributi mechanic involved. And this plan plays out inside, but it's all takes place inside of an Imperator Titan.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was really
is
cool.
Is that a new book or an older one?
I think it's a little bit older. It was in audio, so like I listened to it. I listened to almost all my Warhammer lore at this point exclusively in audiobook.
Yeah, me too. It's just so much more convenient that way. All right. Well, do you want to talk about your awesome trip to Atlanta?
Yeah, man. Let me pull up. Do you have pictures? Did I send you pictures?
You did, and I have all of your opponents' lists ready to go.
All right, cool. I was going to pull up my.
Also, I noticed you had your list titled as Test.
That's true.
Come on, Noah. You're going to the World Champs. Let's get an actual name on that list.
It was literally, sorry, I took almost the same list as Slanesh, and I called it Krampus's Day Out, is what I called it as Slanesh.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's a name. All right.
Well, because the background here is I was mostly playing Imperial Knights. My dear friend, amazing person, Lucas Troller, told me that I should play Chaos Knights, talked me into it. And so then I was just like messing around with lists. So I created a list called Test, and I messed around. And that list like stuck, and I did a bunch of play testing with it, and I liked it. But I never had a reason to go back and change the name. So that like literally was like the first like file I created, and I just kept editing inside of it.
Okay.
Until I finally got it. Then I didn't realize I had left the name on it, but that's cool. Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to pull up mine just to refresh myself. Warhammer World Champs, pairings, and I'm going to go back to round one. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, first we'll talk about, I don't think all these are in order, but because this person here is my last opponent. But I think I can jump around.
Joel is your first opponent, and he was playing Eldar. You want me to read his list?
Yeah, I don't think I have a picture for everybody's thing. So we'll just I'll pop through these as we need to.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll put this cool picture up while we wait. So we went to the World Championship. I got in super late, got my stuff ready, got up the next day, got dressed looking all fancy fresh.
Did you stay at the venue?
I did. And then specifically that hat that I'm wearing used to be the hat of the organization that shall not be named that my game store replaced. But I cut the patch off and then super glued a new patch on. So it's like the most beaten, weathered hat at this point. The thing looks like I had it for I think 5 years at this point. But I was ready to go. I show up, and Joel was one of the co-captains. At least he's told me he was one of the co-captains of Team Sweden ITC.
Okay.
I was playing Chaos Knights, and I was in a position where if I would have just listened to Lucas, I would have won the game.
Oh,
but I failed to listen to Lucas, and I did not properly ignore the Wraith Guard. I saw an opportunity to kill him, didn't work out. He played it really well. It was I believe a Dawn of War deployment. We matched off, and he's just playing Eldar and had more tricks. I was, the brain wasn't fully spun up to full power yet. And he got first turn. he was able to like get a really cheeky angle, extreme angle on a war dog and kill it and warp in a incarn and then start going crazy. And that just did not work out very well for me. So
when you went after the Wraith card, were they did they have fortune on them at the time, or were they?
They did it. Every game I played against the Eldar, I killed the I've killed the Wraith Seer or not the Wraith Seer, the
Spirit Seer,
the Farseer. I killed the Farseer like literally every time. That's the first place the Havoc launchers go. They just rain on that guy's head, and I killed him nearly every game within. I think I killed him every Eldar game I played. I killed him within the first 2 turns.
Oh, nice, very good.
I was like, "You are not. We're not dealing with that nonsense here. We're not doing that." Yeah, but he got me pretty soundly. I lost like by 50 points. You know, he kicked my teeth in pretty hard, and that was okay. I was okay with that. Like losing into Eldar like that. So my next round was against Francois, which I think I have a picture of somewhere here. Francois was playing Space Marines. There we go. There's Francois. Francois is one of the illustrious top players in Canada. He wasn't feeling super well. He's also one of the hosts of Can Hammer. He had been getting over COVID for a couple of weeks, and he was his trip and stuff. He was feeling a little down, but we sat down and I assured him that we were going to have a chill game. So we sat down and played. He was playing this really cool list that was like the Firestorm Space Marines, right? So he's playing like 3 squads of Inceptors. He was playing a Land Raider Redeemer with a squad of aggressors inside and a captain. He's playing a Whirlwind. He was playing he was Blood Angels, so he's playing a squad of 2 Whirlwinds. Yeah, he was playing a squad of Death Company to give a little bit of scary, and he was playing some infiltrators. And it was set up the if you're familiar with the term the Thunderdome, it was set up with basically this terrain layout that makes this like cross section, like X crossing kind of offset X in the middle of the table.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, if you go in there, it's death, right? And it's extra death that all of his weapons get +1 strength when they're within half range. Right? So like all of his, and then he has a way to get +1 to wound and all this stuff. So the Flamestorm cannons on the Land Raider Redeemer become strength 7, which means they wound my big guys even on 5s.
Yes.
Right.
That seems good.
So he basically he's poised his Death Company in a position where they could threaten a lot of the table. I poised my Rampager kind of just outside of their threat range to do the same thing off to the right side. He put his Inceptors in reserve. I put everything else kind of on my backfield to screen out the back. And then he pushes Redeemer along the opposite side of the ramp from the Rampager. And I had to set up a couple things. So the big things were, as I've been playing this list, one of the things it comes down to is when the opponent decides to kill the Rampager. At that moment, they are investing a lot of resources, usually most of their army, if not their entire army, to kill the Rampager. It usually takes them. Sometimes they spike and it takes less, but a lot of the time it takes almost the entirety of their available resources. What that means is if they do it and they don't kill the Rampager, they have taken a turn off, which is like a huge problem, right? Like it's just like an enormous problem. Even if you leave that guy on 1 wound, right? It's like an enormous problem. So he set up a turn where he came in on the side and he wasn't really feeling well. So I had him sit down and we just talked through all the potential chances. This is one of the things I really loved about World Champs is it was not like me try-harding against somebody else. We just sat and we just mapped out the entire turn for him together. He was I was like, okay, what are you trying to achieve? What do you think you need to do? And we were just talking through it because he got a little a vertigo standing up. So he sat down. We just sat with each other and just talked about, he drank some water. We just talked about the game. Okay, what do you think is most important? Do you really think that's most important? And I just workshopped with him we were coaching. He was coaching me. I was coaching him, kind of talking it through on his turn. And he came to the agreement that he understood the risk, but he thought it was the best idea to go after the Rampager. I said, okay, cool. We made sure everything else was in alignment. He pushed up the Redeemer on one side. He got out his aggressors for a charge, and he brought down his interceptors for shooting. Something kind of went wrong a little bit. For the thing is, I took the Flesh Hounds in my list. Flesh Hounds can heroic intervention for free. So when he charged with the aggressors, I heroic intervened to the back end of his aggressors, which meant that he couldn't pile all his aggressors onto my Rampager, onto my Carnivore, which meant that he only swung on my Carnivore with 2 aggressors, so they lived. So it lived. And then they wiped my Bloodhounds, but that doesn't matter. My Carnivore swung back and basically picked all of them up other than the captain. And then on the shooting, he left the Rampager on like a wound. He shot the Rampager, left it on like a wound, charged the 2 front War Dogs I was screening with, killed both of those in close combat, and piled in, but didn't quite touch me. So I had to make some choices on the turn. I had a very wounded Rampager, and I had lost 2 Armigers that turn. He had a bunch of resources on the table, and he had a captain over here and a Redeemer parked like mid-table. So if I put anything onto objectives in the middle of the table, he would just like wipe them out with flamers. It was still a pretty good spot because basically what I did is I just like didn't charge anything with the Rampager that turn. I fell over and put him on a 0. So I just like walked over him and put my big guy, since he only had 1 model on the objective on his side of the table, I just put my big guy on and put 5 on there because he was wounded, and flipped it back. And then I came around with my Carnivore and charged the Death Company after shooting them with some things and killing them. And then I got other stuff into place by basically saying like, the reason I can move my big guy over there in the first place, even though it was being covered by the flamers, is I brought over 1 squad of dogs. And I was like, would you like to Overwatch? He was like, is that only 1 OC? I'm like, yep. He's like, no. I'm like, great. Then I brought over 1 more squad of dogs. Like, would you like to Overwatch? He's like, crap, yes. So he Overwatch kills the dogs. Then I move the big guy over because one way or another, like it doesn't. So
nice. Well done.
We kind of played that way, and I brought the changeling in on the back end, and he picked up like 3 Inceptors by himself, which was pretty funny.
What? With this...
Yeah, it was D6 plus 3, strength 6, AP 1, ignores cover, D3 damage flamer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done, changeling.
I know he was MVP, and there was a squad of Nurglings that sat behind this ruin on his side of the table, literally from turn 2 onward, and just deployed for 4 points every turn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So at the end of the game, that was really good. It was a 1-point game.
Wow.
In my favor, and had an excellent game. He went back to his room, fell asleep, and woke up. And he actually went. I was his only loss after that.
Jeez.
He went on a tear for the rest of the event and just dominated. I think he finished 6-2.
Wow.
So my next matchup that day, I have to remember. Oh, first day was just 2 rounds, and then the next matchup was
against Eric Yu.
Yeah, Eric. Eric was an amazing game.
Pure Yanari.
Yeah, that was
a Yanari purist.
I'm going to call out Eric because I had one of the coolest. No, it's a good thing. One of the coolest experiences I've ever had at a table with an opponent with a conflict. Okay. So we start playing. So he's from, I believe, China. He's not from the U.S. Hong Kong, I think, is where he's from. He's not from the U.S. He's, really happy to be there. We're chatting. We're having a great time. Army looks great. He is the Eldar. They're like kind of like a Crimson Eldar that I took a picture of. Yeah, these guys.
Okay, nice.
So
very well done.
This was Eric right here. And then so that's Eric and his Eldar. So we get all set up.
That notably is a Void Raven bomber.
Yes, the Void Raven bomber actually is pretty good. So I set up on the line. We're at pitch deployments, and I go first, but he is screened in such a way that I'm not going to make a charge on anything that is important, and he's going to phantasm away.
Okay.
So I bomb forward with my knight. He phantasms away. My knight is now my big knight. My Rampager is mid-table. I spread out along the sides of the board and push up. This is the notably. This is the mission, I believe, where they disappear.
Yes.
right? So I have like medium commitment in the middle, more commitment stage for the top, less commitment stage for the bottom. And I have my carnivores are pushing up towards the middle as well, following in the wake of the rampager, and my brigands are moving up on the sides. He had to put a night spinner on top of my big guy every turn to keep him from advancing and charging. So that was cool. So it was able to like tank a little bit of that shooting away. What was really fun about this thing is like, so we're going back and forth, and basically my mission is I'm going to push him into a corner as much as I can, and then my plan is to kill every bit of trash in his army, every chance I get, and not worry about anything else. We're just going to kill the trash and be mindful of the in-car. That's what we're going to do.
He has quite a bit of trash in this list. Surprisingly.
Right. So every time he put trash on the table, I picked it up.
Nice.
Like, I mean, anytime I could get a shot at anything, between indirect and target priorities and things. So I kept, pushing him down, and I was doing tactical. And my missions were being really kind to me. And the rampagers end up circumnavigating the entire table. He comes out through the middle, takes a left turn up to the top of the table, U's back, charges in, wipes like 2 squads of trash by himself, piles in. The dude warps in the incarn in front of him, so now the incarn's standing in front of the rampager to like stop me from piling into another squad. And then eventually I end up with my rampager on the objective that is closest to my side, on my side of the table. That's not my home objective, after doing a U across the entire table.
Wow.
The carnivores have gone and killed all of the night spinners, and he and I are both basically tabled down to like the last few models. He ends up getting all these shots in the last turns on the rampager, and the rampager, I think he's at 2 wounds. My opponent thinks he's supposed to be dead. So we have a disagreement. He says, your rampager's dead. And I'm like, no, my rampager's at 2. He goes, no, your rampager's dead. Here's the math. And I said, no, I modify my wound dial every time. I'm adamant that I'm going to stick by the wound dial. This is what it is. That's how it is. If you don't like it, you can get a judge. I'm respectful about it, but this is the truth. I am not budging on it. He goes, all due respect, I'm not budging on it. I'm good. I've been keeping track of the math. Your rampager's dead. He was super polite about it, and I was super polite about it. And we took a moment, and I was like, I don't believe you're being malicious at all. But I'm pretty resolute in my opinion. He goes, I also don't think you're being malicious. I'm resolute in my opinion. We've had a great game. I went, okay, cool. So we went and got a judge together in like good spirit. The judge came over. We both told him our story. The judge walked away, came back, and he said, okay, so this is one of the few times I've ever been at a call like this, and neither opponent actually thinks the other opponent is being malicious. Everyone just thinks that someone has made a mistake. So I have no way to know for sure what happened. So we're just going to have to resolve it with a die roll.
Oh my God.
And I was like, hold on, before we do the die roll, can we do the math and see if everything went perfect for Eric, would he win if the rampager dies? And they did the math, and they realized that no matter what, it was a 2-point game for me.
Oh,
rampager,
wow.
Dead or alive, there's no way he could win. He lost by 2 points, even if he got max everything. So I was like, cool, rampager's dead. And then Eric played it out, maxed out his stuff, and I won by 2 points.
Nice. Well done.
But it was cool because we had this. He was like really polite and kind about it. He was very resolute and confident. I was very resolute and confident. But the end state was, it didn't really matter. But we were both resolved to let it be the die roll. But then it turned out that it didn't actually matter. The Void Raven Bomber was actually really good in that matchup too. He's very good at killing my stuff. The MVP, the dogs were MVP like always, ran around, grabbing objectives, doing silly stuff. The the dogs are a little bit of a liability when you're playing against the in-car.
I would say so, yes.
The most annoying thing about playing against the in-car is I have to like have all my big knights or my little knights be like 9 to 12 inches apart at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to put all my trash in the space. So it was hard, but it was a good match, and I was able to pull it off. After that, I believe I played into Death Guard, or I played into Chaos Knights.
Played into Matthias Peterlin?
Yes, this is Matthias right here. So Matthias is one of the Chaos Knight players from Team Austria.
Okay.
And I think it's Austria. Yeah. And he was super cool. He was a really great dude. But he came to the table, and he's playing the stereotypical 12 dog list. And we start talking about it. And first off, he thought that he didn't realize that the new ruling was that you couldn't see the Rampager behind the obscuring terrain. And when when I told him that, like that the terrain obscures the Rampager now, like towering, he was like, "Oh!" And then he had like you could see the wheels go and be like, "Oh, that's really good in this matchup." And he had come to the table pretty confident. And when he realized kind of what was going on, and then I think he saw as we started to play. Basically, what happened was he deploys on one side, everything on the line, essentially, things ready to position. I deploy a little more conservatively with all my things in range of getting onto objectives. I think we both took bring it down, deploy, teleport homers. Right? Oh no, yeah, I think that's what we did. I can't remember for sure. I think he might have taken tactical. But
He also has all brigands and carnivores. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And so I think he had a squad of Nurglings.
Yeah. And Celesky.
So I screen out my side of the table really well, and I stuff the Rampager in a pocket so you can't see him, and he's outside of all the carnivores' threat ranges. So he has to move to get. If you're inside a carnivore's threat range, you're inside the Rampager's threat range. So for a carnivore to stage to put you in threat range means that you're in my threat range, right? So he pushed up and kind of pushed up near the top, staying away from the Rampager who was on the bottom. And I was able to make a couple like YOLO plays and like kill a couple of his brigands early game to reduce his overall shooting power and force him to rely on carnivores. Up at the top end, I got really lucky. He was aggressive with a carnivore, and so I pushed up a huntsman, and I like YOLO melted the brigand behind the closest brigand to death, and then charged and killed the other brigand.
Wow.
I mean the other carnivore. So it was a pretty, and then one of them exploded and damaged a whole bunch of stuff. So then on the following turn, he had to make a bunch of battle shocks, and he failed a couple of them.
Dang.
So it was a pretty rough like consequence. Well, once he'd lost a couple of trading pieces, so very rapidly between turn 1 and the end of round 2, he went from 12 trading pieces to 8 pieces, right? So he lost 4 things over the first 2 turns. Now he and I are at that point. Now I'm up on tradable pieces. I have more chaff than he does. I have the same number of units he does. He kills a couple of my guys, gets me down to 7. So now it's 7 to 9 knights, right? And or 7 to 8 knights, and then I have more trash. He brings Celeskin in the back, and I've pushed away from Celeste, so she gets to do a turn doing nothing, and then has to walk around a wall and stuff. I come out with my big knight and I smash a knight to death. And then he comes in on my big knight with 3 knights, right? As he's coming in with these 2 carnivores, I, since I have the relic for battle shock, I battle shock one of the carnivores and he fails.
Oh.
So his carnivore's battle shocked. This means a couple of things. One, that carnivore's -1 to hit me. The other thing is I'm +1 to wound that carnivore. And that I get a 5-up feel no pain against that carnivore. Right? So
those are just the inherent Chaos Knight abilities for people being battle shocked, right?
Yeah. So he goes to activate that carnivore, and I pop for the 5-up feel no pain. So I take the 5-up feel no pain. He does very little damage to me, and then I have 2 CP left. I interrupt and I kill the other one.
Oof.
So the brigand like slaps me with like 2 hands, but I had already like intervened with like all the dogs. So like all the dogs are also swarming the objective.
The flesh hounds or the war dogs?
Flesh hounds. Okay. And when I killed the other one, I killed them both. I split my attacks and killed 2 carnivores. Okay. Because it's flat 6 damage, hits on 2s, explodes on 6s when I charge, whatever, right? AP 4. So I pick up both carnivores. Then he shoots me on his turn point blank with the melta gun and kills the Rampager. The Rampager blows up, kills some of my dogs, kills him, or kills like some wounds off him. It's all good. But at that point, he has like no resources left, and I'm just like running around the table with the blue scribes, like going and like capping objectives. And he gets Celeste into the back into a war dog, ends up whiffing completely. The war dog falls away, and I just like shoot Celeste to death with the remaining war dogs, and then she fails to get up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. At the end, he was a pretty big. He liked the Rampager. The Rampager's pretty fun. It acts as a nice denial piece. After that, I played against. Let's see what. This is my matchup against him actually right here. He's got all the dogs arrayed here. You can see the Rampager up at the top here. He's tucked in a little corner behind these things. Okay. And then I've got my Huntsman over here where he came over and killed a knight. He's holding that objective. And I have another one here, staged to shoot if he comes up. I have another one here to come up and take his place if he comes up and kills this one. So I've got like redundancy. Like if he comes up and tries to kill this, then these two come up and kill whatever's left.
Is this the no objective in the middle mission?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have this guy hanging me on the wall to like jump out and get lines if necessary. These two ready to come up into this firing lane or this firing lane if necessary. And then I have these two guys at the very top just kind of staging. One comes out of the wall, caps the objective, kills what's on it. Then they'll kill him, and then the next one will come out and do the same thing. So just like pushing him off of primary while setting up multiple kind of like funnels of redundancy, and then making sure that I always have a response force that can go cover any given line at any time. And that's traditionally the way I always play my knights is like I'm going to look at how I do the most optimized trades, and then I'm going to have like a little response unit. I have these two guys at the bottom, and then I have these two guys, one of these guys, and then one guy to be the feed. The feed is the guy who goes caps the objective for me, usually something with a melee weapon. The response unit is a shooting unit that can then fall into place and address a threat as it emerges, but is also usually positioned well enough that it can go do another job. Like this one could have gone through here and shot through that main firing lane. These two can come up through the bottom and shoot here. And then I have the Rampager covering like a 30-inch bubble over here. And then I have this other guy ready to come up along the edge or poise to grab an objective.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was really well. I really enjoyed it. It was a good game. So then I played into Nashai, and I got totally trashed.
Nope. You had another game in between there, sir.
Oh, who did I play against next?
Mr. Jack Harpster.
Oh yeah, no, that one I got. That was actually a really great learning experience. So that was a 23-point loss. There's not a lot to talk about. So basically, what happened is we lined up on Purge, and my brain forgot the fact that I can't just play that passive because he's just gonna. If I go take an objective, he's just gonna take something and take 8 on primary. So basically, it took me 2 turns to realize what was going on. I fed something over to go purge the enemy.
Oh, purge. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. I fed a thing onto objective. He killed it. He ends up getting kill more, gets the 8 points. I end up failing to kill the scouts in shooting indirectly. When I finally realized what was going on, I just went ham, and I went from like a 50-point loss to a 23-point loss by just going. I should have gotten proactive earlier in the game and just accepted his killing power. I played a little shy of the player and a little shy of the power. And I was in fear. And really what I honestly should have done is just been like, here is all of my army. I hope you enjoy. And I think that would have worked a lot better. So I had a practice in humility. Sometimes you should be less humble.
Okay.
And then after him, that's when I played Nashai.
Jack was playing Black Templars.
He was playing basically like Black Templars pretending to be Chaos Space Marines.
Whoa.
Well, that's what it is.
That's an accusation right there.
All those squads are supposed to be like pretending to be chosen.
Yeah.
It's chosen cosplay. And then my next round was against Nashai, and Nashai was playing Death Guard, and he was playing a pretty cool Death Guard army. It was
what country was he from?
Taiwan, I believe.
Okay.
And so he was playing like a ton of Death Guard, like Plague Marines with Fight Last inside of Rhinos, as well as some Carnivores to support them.
Wow, he's got a ton of characters. He's got 3 Petrifiers, the Grenade Dude.
Yeah, I made a mistake.
Terminator
Like I
sword?
just like I just did not really respect how good the fights last, and those plague marines were into me.
Ah, jeez.
And then on that map, he had really good areas to hide and create good. Like he got to choose all the engagements. I was really careful, but ultimately he ended up whooping the crap out of me. He just like set up positions where like basically it was really great. He set up and was just like, okay, you have to respond to me. I don't have to do anything. If I sit where I'm at, then I win. If you come and do something to me, then I fight first and I win anyway. So he forced me to solve a problem that didn't really have a good solution. Because there really weren't any good firing lanes for the way that it was set up. So I got consumed, got plagued real hard.
Ugh. What mission was that?
It was a hammer and anvil. It was
Okay.
5 objectives. Hammer. Oh no, it was 6 objectives. It was hammer and anvil, and the middle one split.
Okay, gotcha.
And he, because of all the sticky objectives and the fight last, it really hurt.
Wow.
So after Nishai, I believe
what does the grenade guy do in 10th edition?
He lets him use the grenade strat an extra time for free once per game per guy.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So he grenades twice a turn, and he just like does a ton of mortal wounds. He does fight last. He's got powerful flamers. He's got a ton of like extra AP, extra damage, and like it was really good. Death Guard is really good. It was really good.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
And also I whiffed on like everything, so like it didn't help, but he definitely outplayed it. So let's see.
Are Nurglings battle line?
No, they're 0 OC. Oh, they are battle line, but they are 0 OC.
Okay, I was gonna say he's got 4 units of them. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Okay.
So then I played after Nishai, I believe I played against GSE.
Lucas Bernard.
Yeah, that game was amazing. That was super fun, and it's a favorite game for Chaos Knights. But like, basically, that game was Noah moved into the middle of the table.
What country is Lucas from?
France.
Okay.
So basically, like I moved into the middle of the table. I covered all the objectives. I played all the ways that you're supposed to play against GC, putting things directly in the middle of objectives, making sure that things are like 6 inches apart rather than 18 inches apart, all that kind of stuff. I pushed the Rampager into the middle of the table turn 1. He shot the crap out of it, got it down to like 2 wounds, and it lived. And so he had to deal with it for a full another turn. Eventually, it died. But by the time it died, it never actually like hit anything that was important. It killed 1 squad of melee, but it did like create a giant bubble of him like retracting and then having to shoot resources into it. And then the dogs basically just played the whole game. Dogs went around the side, the war dogs, and then the flesh hounds came out late game and went and cleared objectives where he had like a small number of guys holding objectives. Mm-hmm. They just went out and cleared objectives and camped for me. So they were kind of like my second wave. Like the first wave was a Rampager, absorbs all the fire so that the war dogs can get into place. Second wave was the war dogs taking away his teeth and like, killing threats and getting into position. Then as he starts to clap back and get, like he's running lower on resources, but he's able to get some footholds, then the dogs come out and the changeling comes out. And between the dogs and the changeling, they're able to scrape the weaker bodies off of the objectives and take over positioning. And then that let the war dogs focus on just killing. There was a moment that was like, I thought was pretty clutch where I had to, in order to win the game, basically, like in order to like get out of a really bad spot that I was potentially in, I had to use the Knights of Shade to go through things on a brigand. So the brigand could charge through my own brigand and his squad to end on the other side to put a toe on an objective and be able to swing the last couple attacks necessary in to kill these like 2 models that were in combat with my brigand that were holding this objective.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like this really weird
clutch move.
Big brain play where like, oh, well, I can't charge in. Okay, I'm going to charge through it. It was the only time I've ever used Knights of Shade on a brigand.
Nice.
Knights of Shade and Tank Shock, mind you, on a brigand.
Okay.
That game was great.
He's got a pile of Brood Brothers in here.
Yeah, so that was really cool. He did a bunch of move walking with the Chimeras. He was able to do like holding objectives with them. He also had a basilisk to do some long range shooting.
Yeah.
And then he had a whole bunch of things. The thing that he didn't have, which changed the whole game for me, is he had no abominants. And
Mm.
because he had no abominants, I didn't have to respect the middle of the table at all.
Yeah. Because he really doesn't have any melee.
No, I'm not afraid of I'm afraid of his shooting, but that's it. And so I just went like I had to be very careful about getting within certain ranges of things to get mortal, to get within certain ranges of things that they get free moves, getting within the correct number range of things so that I could shoot them in case he uses the strat for you can't shoot me outside of 12. So there was a lot of that, which GSC is my favorite army to play against because of
Really?
the because of the shenanigans. It scratches the itchy part of my brain. It's like the part of my brain that wants to solve problems and deal with puzzles. It's just like a constant puzzle the whole game. And there's no point in which the GSC player is usually out of the game. So there's no point where you get to take the gas off. Like you just have to play it all the way out. I really enjoy
Nice.
that.
So right now, you've lost one game only to Jack?
No, I lost to Jack. I lost my first round to Eldar.
Oh, Eldar, yeah, okay.
Right. And then I lost Shai. So I've lost 3.
Okay.
And then I finished the event 4-4.
Right. Okay.
And let's see. How do you think they could change the Magus to make it actually good? GC. The Magus is the guy who gives the rerolls, right? I mean, I'll be honest. The rerolls are good. I feel like the Magus is the thing that is good in that. Like a unit with a Magus and getting the full rerolls, or is that the Primus that gives full rerolls?
I think the Primus gives the rerolls.
Okay, I don't know what the Magus does, and that's probably why that they're asking this question. I actually don't know what the Magus does.
I can look that up real quick.
Yeah, if you want to. The Primus is great. I feel like the Magus should do something. I mean, right now with the prevalence of Battle Shock I don't know about how. Let's see.
Magus.
Magus does nothing.
He gives a feel no pain against psychic attacks. And then he has mind control, which does mortal wounds and gives -1 to hit for whoever he.
I think if given the leadership values and how important leadership is, I think, and given that like the other things, they have a character that creates a deep strike bubble. I think the Magus should have interactions with Battle Shock. So if Magus being the psychic thing, sure, have the feel no pain, whatever. But I think either being able to do like the AdMech thing of like pick one unit and it's unbattle shocked once per battle, pick a unit and that unit unbattle shocks, which is like an AdMech enhancement. Or being able to say, hey, this unit and units within 6 inches of this model take their battle shocks on 3d6 or on at +1 or whatever it happens to be, because the battle shocks are right now a very relevant aspect of the game, and it doesn't feel like maybe I'm wrong, but it does not feel like GSC has anything that interacts with battle shock. And then as soon as something can't be affected by stratagems in GSC, I feel like they fall out. Like suddenly they can't be plus the wound, they can't be picked up and redeploy on the table, they can't do XYZ. So the moment the unit is battle shocked, like all the stratagem support falls off, and I think the unit just kind of like crumbles. So I think something to interact with battle shock would be sweet. Okay.
Last round.
So my last round,
Edelman.
I'm going to be polite, and but I am going to be honest. So
this is another pure Yanari list,
right? And I feel like I lost this one again. So the game over the course of the game, there's lots of black and play. There was a moment where I had an inflection point of either I could get a double carnivore rampager assault onto the not plus -1 to wound Wraith Guard, and mathematically that should have killed the unit. Or I could have ignored them and probably won the game. But if I killed the Wraith Guard, I definitely won the game. I killed like 3 models between a Rampager and 2 Carnivores.
Jeez.
And then I lost the game pretty much on the spot. But up to that game, it was really back
Wow.
and forth and very close. It didn't help that he made all his battle shocks, but
he also has 21 Dark Lances in this list and Rapier.
yeah, it was a really
Ouch.
well suited list for me. But so turn one, he sets up and he has his Ravager 26 over 26 inches from my Carnivore, and then he puts a squad of Mandrakes in front of it. I move my Carnivore up. The Mandrakes are an 8-inch charge, and I have to end on the other side of the wall. So I make a charge, I fail it, I reroll the charge, I pass it, I spend the CP for Knights of Shade, I go through the wall, I have a long enough charge that I'm able to go a little bit further and base a unit. I tank shock, I get exactly 6 mortals, I pick up the entire Mandrake unit, I pile into the Ravager, I kill the Ravager in melee, and pile back onto the objective and have like a 15-point swing. Now, my opponent did not know that you could attack something you didn't charge in 10th edition. So the moment his Mandrakes pick up, I pile in, he starts to get very upset. I roll my dice, he doesn't have a save, or he doesn't make his saves, the thing dies, and now he gets incredibly upset. He end up resolving himself, but I'm going to say that he said and acted a way at the table that in a polite professional setting was not appropriate.
Okay.
And I had to be like, yo, I can tell that you're upset and frustrated with what is going on. So I'm going to give you a moment to pause, and I'm going to go use the bathroom. And they'll come back and we can consume playing. I understand that because he misunderstood. He was like, you said you couldn't charge me. And I was like, well, yeah, I didn't charge you. I YOLO'd an 8-inch charge, spent 2 CP, hoped for the best, completed a thing, piled in, and swung. Like that wasn't like an auto thing. That wasn't a gotcha. That was just like mechanics of the game and a bunch of things lined up exactly how they needed to. He's still very upset. And I said I was going to use the bathroom. He said, well, no, I'm just going to play. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. We're not playing. We're done playing this game until you calm down. As far as I'm concerned, this game has resolved. The game is over until you calm down. He took a chill for a minute. I walked away. I got a judge. I explained the situation. The judges handled it great. They came over. They had a heart-to-heart with him. He took a moment. He calmed down. And I have this thing that when someone else is being rude, like I will get very focused and play better. But the moment someone is polite and apologetic, I will chill out. And so I wish he wouldn't have apologized because then I might have won the game. But
oh no,
but he apologized, and then we had a great game. And we finished, and we shook hands, and took a nice picture at the end, and everything was good. But there was a distinct feeling of, he came to the table, kind of talked a little trash on Chaos Knights, and then I taught him a bunch of things about how the combat system went as we go. I was very careful to help him keep his models from being in danger. I helped correct a bunch of his moves. Then he got super tilted on that. And it just felt like he was the only player in the event that I felt like I had was there, not just being happy to be there, but was there to win. Right. I was there to win, but I was also there just happy that I had made it to the World Champs.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, to his credit, he calmed down. He got himself in control. It was definitely an upsetting situation. If you weren't expecting that, especially at the end of, 8 rounds of 40K, nerves can be fried. I have no ill will towards him, and I think, he did a great job turning it around. But it was definitely one of those moments where I had to take a chill and be like, okay, someone is very upset. How do I handle this? All in all, I ended 4-4.
What country was he from?
The U.S. He's from the Northeast. He and I play at the he and I have played at the same gaming club in New York. We know a bunch of the same people, and I expect, and we had a great. Other than that one interaction, we had a great game. So I hope all the best for him, and I hope to get to play again and have a good time. But I just, that's a thing that people need to remember and keep internalized is that nothing is more important than a good experience while playing the game. And I think sometimes people get too focused on wanting something to be the way they want it to be, and I have a little bit of a hard time rolling with the changing environment. And that's something you just have to be flexible about when you're playing 40K. So it ended really well. I had a great time. Did okay. Did pretty good in paint too. I won second best Chaos Knights. I lost to one guy who edged me out.
Do you remember
So
what your paint score was?
I was like
It
a
was like
70
out.
or whatever, which I made showcase.
Yeah, it was like out. It was a weird number. It was like out of 85 or something, or 90 or
Yeah,
something like that. Okay, so
yeah.
you did
So
really well.
I made showcase. I was in the top 20 whatever. So I did good. I had a great time. It was an amazing experience. I got to meet a lot of cool people, make a lot of cool relationships, and I generally felt like it was just a lifetime experience for sure.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was good. And then I got back and had a little break, and then I went to Slaneshmus. And Slaneshmus, like I said, I went 4-1-1 and it was really good. I did get to like my revenge on Yunari though,
Oh,
or Eldar. I played into Eldar at Slaneshmus, and like I set up every bait, and my opponent took every bait that I set up, and it was just perfect. There was a moment where I like pushed on one side with like a rampager and a carnivore, and so he was like lined up to like make them both slow with the shadow spinners. But then I rapid ingressed a third knight, so another carnivore. So now he had rampager, carnivore to deal with. So he fire and fades and gets everything away. Or not fire and fades, phantasm. He pulls all the way back, so he's like giving up the entire board to like not get charged, and then I just ran the other way.
oh, a double feint.
Yeah.
Wow, beating them at their own game.
And my Nurglings ran up and to block the one place the Avatar Kane came out. So the Avatar Kane got bullied by Nurglings for 2 turns.
Oh,
So finally he got upset about it and melted them all to death, and like came out and was like, stop. I will not be bullied. Just Nurglings dancing across the table like, you can't touch me.
Jeez.
It was fun. It was a good time. My next game, I have an RTT for my birthday this Saturday.
Oh, happy birthday.
38.
38. All right. Same.
I'll be playing AdMech.
Okay.
We're going to see how that goes. And then my next event after that's LVO.
Wow. Okay.
Which I'm either going to play Imperial Knights if they get a good data slate readjustment, or I'll play AdMech and hopefully I'll figure out what a list looks like with them.
Jeez, man. Yeah, I've got the Glass City GT in Toledo, Ohio. I think the first weekend in January.
Ooh.
And then I bought a ticket for Rocky Mountain Open. Yeah, in March.
I was thinking about going.
Yeah, that'll be my first like big trip traveling to a tournament. So we'll see how.
All right, now that you're going, I have to evaluate me going because I wasn't going to go. I was like thinking about it because I went last year and it was amazing.
Okay.
I actually have a friend from the Marine Corps who is still, strangely enough, a sheriff or police officer in the city.
Oh,
that's in, but it's like random North Carolina, Cherokee, North Carolina.
No. Rocky Mountain, not.
Oh,
this is the
what's
one
Rocky
in Denver.
Mountain?
This is the frontline event in Denver. Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the Cherokee Open.
Yeah, nope.
I got confused. Okay, well, that one I might go to too. We'll see. I did just get a job, or I think I will have a job. So we'll see there. But man, that's all I got. I have a kids recital, so I got a piece out. But
okay.
I think we're going to get back on our normal schedule of community, hobby, whatever. So stay tuned to know what we're going to do. And then I'd like to plug, and I don't have a picture, but I'd like to plug an event, the event, in my opinion, which I will do right here. One sec. I'm going to post a link. This is the Cascade Clash. This is a 150-person, 8-round major that my company, Aegis Games, is putting on in March. So March 8th through the 10th, come on out. We're going to have hobby stuff, paint scoring. Obviously, we're going to have a single winner from our 150 people. And if we get to that 150 mark or close to it, we're actually evaluating and talking to the Gambling Commission, making sure that all the lines are crossed up that we can do a cash prize.
Okay.
Which would be like not in the little bits of money, but in like a lot of bits of money.
Yeah.
like the $500 plus to $1,000 money. So we're trying to make it a big deal. If we get all 150 people or close to it, we're actually going to do another event in October, and we'll have a recurring slot twice a year at this venue, locked in as a premier event. So it's really important that we make over 100 people for our first year. It's kind of a lofty goal, but if we can do it, it sets up the store for a lot of good things. If people don't know, Aegis is a store in Bellingham, Washington. We try to do a lot of good stuff in the Warhammer community. We participate also in like the Malifaux community and a bunch of other gaming areas. And generally we're champions of, inclusivity and hobby and, not being a jerkbag. And so this is our kind of play at expanding the business a little bit and trying to better affect the community. So if you're around, if you can, hype us up, come on out. It'll be a great time. I talked too much and Joe left.
I'm here. I just had a little kid incident. I had to
all good.
Real quick.
Oh,
coming back.
Well, that's all I got, man.
I'm back. All right. Yep.
All
me
right.
too. I'm here.
All right. Well, that's all I got. You got anything you want to add, Joe?
Nope. Have a good evening, everyone.
Well, you're all wonderful. Joe, maybe we'll get a game in tomorrow.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Or maybe Sunday, but I'd like to play soon.
Yeah. Oh, and I think TNG has a show in like 3 hours as well tonight. So you can.
Yeah, you should definitely watch that because TNG is sweet.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Bye.
Bye, everyone.